Greetings, Moonlight Citizens. This is your man on the moon here with episode 14. That's right, 14, Roman numeral XIV 1 4 10 plus 4 7 plus 7. Many numbers adding this way. On this episode, I am joined by another good friend of mine. Well, he's been on here quite a few times, and we will be recovering. Not recovering, but we will be covering Keefe D, Aquaman, Christopher Nolan's filmography, John McTiernan's filmography, among other things, on this episode of Moonlight Kingdom Podcast. As always, people, get ready to, strap in, get ready for blast off in 3, 2, 1.
So he did do it.
He said, I remember in that interview, he was like, he was in the back seat, and the guy who shot Tupac was in the front.
It was a nephew, right?
Yeah, that's how he says it. He was in the back, the guy's in the front. He didn't shoot anybody. But the way the cops are relaying it is that, dude, sure, you may not have shot anybody, but you did give the dude the gun, and, you enabled the situation, so you are responsible.
To occur.
Yeah, and everyone else is dead, so we blame you. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, because that guy, the nephew, died in, 99, right? It was so long ago. So he's the only one left. He truly is the only one left in this case.
Mm-hmm. It's just...
Damn, I hope you're right.
He's 60-something, dude. I mean...
Better than nothing. I mean... That still sucks.
I get it, but it's kind of too little too late when you look at it. Dude, it took y'all 20-something years to do this? What took you so long? Damn.
I don't know. It all just seems fishy. I just don't buy that it took that long when there have been so many theories, conspiracies, chat boards, message boards across the internet for the past 20 years. I have discussed this guy and his family, yet no action was taken. I just don't get that. Because him popping up as a suspect isn't a new thing. So what stopped them from doing this? What stopped them from carrying out the investigation? I don't know.
I don't know, dog. It's just the whole thing. There's a theory out there that, the reason it took so long is because, someone was being paid off and now they're not being paid anymore, so they're stepping in to do the job.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but, 20 years, man. It's just...
You don't think that it's, media manipulation? Where it's they're only showing us now because something else is happening that might not get new news stories, and then they're gonna, use that as a cover to sort of blow over that big story with this media story that'll get not only, I guess, social media, but black people crazy and whatever. Because all it takes to really distract the media is to distract black people. Because black people are the media. We are we're Twitter, we're everything. So once you distract us, that's all you gotta do, because we'll take it from there, and we'll make it the entire story of the week. So sometimes I do feel like they do that. They do implant these things that make it as if they're acting serious, or is this really breaking news? Have you not known this for 20 years? Have you not known this for the past 10 or whatever? It's... yeah.
Sus. Very sus.
It really is. A lot of America and Hollywood is sus. They just operate weirdly.
With, it's just, yeah, you might be on it. Personally, I just thought it was PR. A PR thing, Vegas PD has this nagging unsolved case. This isn't because if Tupac wasn't a big name rapper, if he was just some guy, if he was just some guy who got shot.
After 20 years,
yeah,
where do you honestly go with the fact that this guy murdered this guy.
Yeah.
Like, it's a big news story, but jeez, man, that happened it happened 27 years ago. Like, it was so, like, right now it's so dated. The people who are interested in the case are, adults, they have kids, they even have grandkids. A lot of them, it's like, oh, they finally caught the guy. It's about time. Yeah. Like, it does no true justice to be out there in the world and they finally caught the killer. Because even Afeni Shakir's dead. God rest his soul.
Yeah.
There's just no one I can see who can benefit from this. Seems like they should have released this when Afeni is still alive. And at least have one dying, or not even dying wish, but just a one dying witness is to be like, finally understand what happened at night and know who killed her son. That didn't happen, man. So I don't know who this is for, really.
Yeah, just
Not
that
for us,
that
but for the
thing.
adults.
Who is this for? Like, it's
Yeah.
it's a ridiculous comparison, but like one I can think of, it was like George Reeves popping up in The Flash. It's like, who is this for?
Yeah, like,
Everyone who would care about this
watch
is
this.
dead. Like,
are like 90 plus now.
yeah.
Like, no one recognizes other than a person who's like some level a historian and did their research to know who this guy is, right? Went on a Wikipedia deep dive or like something. Other
Yeah.
than that, I don't see an intrinsic like connection between him and
What
anything.
what would you say was like the point people not lost interest, but like this stopped being a priority? Like this whole case,
In terms of movies,
in terms of like the case itself, what would you say like Who Shot Tupac just faded from like public? Yeah.
I would say after 9/11, that whole case became cold. I think people already realize how much 9/11 changed things. Like, from every aspect of life and reality. Like, changed laws, it changed societal norms, it changed standards of investigation. It changed like the way we do reports and we do what do you call this? Like, it changed the way we do forensics. It pretty much altered the world. I mean, it altered the Western world, but the Western world alters the world. So it altered our world. So after that, I just don't think Tupac, this one rapper from the 90s, who at some point was, a cultural touchstone, I don't think it mattered after like 10,000 people died on 9/11. It just became a, fuck this.
Yeah.
We have bigger fish to fry.
Certainly. It just, and now all these years later, it's like, okay, we've done it. Now what? We've got the guy. Now fucking what? It's
Exactly.
just- if they'd caught him, like, say, 2000, this would be a big fucking deal.
Yeah.
This would be a huge deal.
Like,
yeah.
within 4 years, he's caught. Like, it took some time, but they managed to do it.
Yeah. It just the cops giving a statement like, finally justice can be served to like the family. He framed it like they've been hunting this dude for like 20 something years. Like, motherfucker, you gave up. You very
You know what the
obviously
irony
gave up.
This whole Tupac investigation for me feels so weird, considering the fact that Biggie, who actually has remaining survivors and loved ones, his case hasn't even been mentioned anywhere ever in like any major documentary or major. Like, we know he's dead. We know that they killed him. We have dramatized versions of that in small pieces of media. But I feel like the world doesn't give a fuck about who shot Biggie. Like the entire just think of the image of Puck. That image of him in the BMW, it's so iconic.
Yeah.
Yet no one ever speaks about Biggie or his lost image or his lost images. They just stay. They just stay calling him the GOAT or whatever, and that's it. They don't give a fuck about who killed him. They don't give a fuck about finding the murderer or bringing the criminals to justice or whatever. I ain't never hear anyone talk about his mom, how his mom feels about this. Like, all we ever hear, Afin Shakir, the Black Panther, Yeah, I get it. Props to her. She was a Black Panther. But, like, she ain't the only one who lost a kid.
Yeah. I think in regards to Biggie, it was mostly a thing of like, well, we know why he's dead. We don't know who did it, but we know why.
Yeah.
So it's like...
It's very obvious why he died, because he literally just Puck on his turf, on a radio show, did multiple shots about him in a freestyle, and that got the New York niggas heated. We just don't know who did it. We know why he died. He didn't need to die. He could have lived. If he had shut his mouth, if he had shut the fuck up about Tupac after he died, and just honored him as like an honorary rap member, he would have been alive to this day if he had not died to another form of violence or heart attack or whatever. As a fact.
Yeah.
He could have lived. But he was a dumbass. So he died.
Dude, I can't believe some of these conspiracies, man. Like one guy, like there was one white guy who was like, it's Suge Knight who was responsible for Tupac's death. I'm like, oh, okay. What makes you say that? Because Tupac was gonna leave death row, so like he got rid of him instead. And I just pointed out the obvious plot hole in that theory, dude. The plot hole of, dude, Suge Knight was in the car. Why would...
You're endangering your own life for the possibility that he might die after already being shot once before.
Yeah. So, yeah. Like, that didn't work out.
Shot me, but your thugs did it finished by the wrath of a menace. Like, why would you want to be in a car with a guy who sings that?
Yeah. Oh, another rap verse that kind of is this by Eminem. Remember in Kill Shot, this guy's boss pops pills, tells him he's got skills. What's this?
Yeah.
The day Diddy admits that he put the hit out that got Pac killed. Dude, I laughed when I heard that back in like 2019, but like now it's like,
At the end of the day, man, most of these rap guys don't know what the fuck happened.
Yeah.
Like, as much as they're in the industry, and they're a part of these people, these individuals in circles, a lot of them did not do the shit that we did. I mean, the shit that they did. Nor did they... Yeah. Like, it's all a conspiracy.
Yeah.
It's all a conspiracy.
I remember the day I found out about like Keefe D getting arrested. I made the joke like
there's the legend.
Like I remember saying like, well, I guess P Diddy can breathe easy now, cause like, oh, well, I guess the heat's off him now. But then it's like all these theories popping up, like Keefe D only did it because he was like put up to it by P Diddy. Like P Diddy was the guy responsible, and now it's like, oh damn, like I guess he's next.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, nah, that's not gonna happen. Like they're not.
It's not.
Yeah. Yes. Vegas PD already got their guy. They're not gonna they're not gonna reach for this now. Like, But even if they did, man, there's nothing there. Even if like Keefe D came out and said, yeah, man, like I got a call from P Diddy and he's the one who put me up to it, it's not gonna go anywhere because there's no evidence backing that up other than dude's word.
Exactly.
Yeah. The case of unsolved. I mean,
Yeah.
man, an unsolved shooting that we finally can put to bed. I mean, like I asked earlier, but like, what now? I mean, Keefe D's going to jail. The case is closed. What now? Like, yeah, it's not like, hey man, I can't wait for the documentary on this though. That's gonna be interesting.
That's the thing. I wonder who's going to commission it. Probably like Netflix or Hulu. One of these like studios that like to do, based on a true story, told by this and that, narrated by this person.
Get those live
They like
action
to-
reenactments, like.
Mm.
I like those, man. I find them entertaining. Let me just say that. Seeing a dude who
Yeah, they are,
vaguely looks like the
seeing
dude.
the worst impersonator ever played Tupac is just hilarious. It's like, this guy's nothing like him, but they needed a black guy for the scene, so they just got a black guy, and that's it.
And
You
they
know, it's
like,
not Pac.
yeah.
It doesn't need to be.
You just need a guy who vaguely looks like him. So you can
Yeah.
put him in like shadows and whatever. We just need a silhouette, really. Yeah. Just a guy who can be the
All they
Tupac
need-
silhouette. Yeah.
All they need is to do the translation, and they're done.
Yeah.
Like, that's all they're really gunning for, that reenactment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can see it in like Dark Side of the 90s on Vice and shit like that. Like it's some of them are good,
Exactly.
but like
They were.
eh,
They were.
yeah. The one guy who
I don't
was,
think anything will beat, like, Medical Detectives, though.
yeah.
That was a really good documentary series.
Yeah. Oh man. But hey, wait a minute. Speaking of documentaries, did you see that Johnny Depp Amber Heard movie?
Nah, what's it called?
Holy fuck, dude. These people acted fast. I kid you not, man. Dude, the trial
Like a
wasn't
lifetime
the
thing.
trial wasn't even over and the movie was announced. That's how fast
Yeah.
these people work, dude. It's hilarious.
Did Lifetime do it, or was it some other studio?
I don't know, man. Like, I don't know, man. I didn't even know the shit was in the works until they announced we have a release date. I'm like, release date? What the fuck? Oh, dude. Man, I just remember seeing the trailer. The guy looks like Johnny Depp. Kind of looks like Johnny Depp when he has like his hair tied back, but in like the scenes where he's like relaxed.
that ponytail.
It's like, yeah. But in like all the other
Yeah.
scenes, it's like, okay, it's clear this is not like him, but yeah. Shit, though, it was. I think it's Netflix. Like, yeah, it's
Yeah,
called
I see.
Depp v. Heard. Oh no, it's a miniseries. Yeah. I think it's on Netflix, but yeah.
Yeah.
Man, fuck, dude. These people.
I
couldn't-
think I've seen it on Twitter ads.
like
I
couldn't
think
even.
I have.
But the chick who they cast for Amber Heard is just nothing like Amber Heard. She looks like Toni Collette.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, dude. It's just the weirdness of it all. But hey, man,
Yeah.
it's just that's a case that isn't an unsolved. We know the answers to all the questions there, like who threw the bottle, who slapped who shit on whose bed. Just damn.
You see, yeah. Apparently, though, speaking of Amber, her role in Aquaman 2 was like cut.
She's still in the movie, just not,
Yeah. As much as what it would have been.
Yeah, she had like it was like 1 second long appearance in the trailer. She like punched the glass and that was it. it kind of shows like, your role has been scaled back so much that the only trailer footage we could get is you punching glass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, but Aquaman,
Weird.
dude, that it feels like obligation more than anything nowadays, you know? Like it's just something DC has
Yeah,
to
it does.
do because it's finished and we can't like we've put too much
Yeah.
money to like shelve it, you know?
Yeah.
It's a Flash all over again. You know, like just
It is. But I feel like the entire DCEU was already on the decline. Like now it's just like probably like dead. I mean, obviously it's probably gonna come back. With like the DCAU and Superman and Legacy and that, but I feel like anything that happens now is just the last kicks of a dying horse. There's not much that can be done to save it, so it might as well just come out and collect whatever it collects from that.
Yeah. But damn though, man, like this movie actually looks good. I'm not gonna from the trailer, this movie actually looks good. Like the first Aquaman. And James Wan he hasn't made a bad movie. He's produced some not so great movie, but he's never directed a bad movie. I don't know. But then again, man,
It's true.
every director has never made a bad movie until they do.
Yeah, until that point.
Yeah. Like who's a director you can think of where you can say this man has never made a bad movie? Not every movie was 100%, but they've never made a bad movie. Nolan?
Yeah. His weakest movie might be like The Prestige. But
Really?
it's still a good movie.
Wait, hold up.
Like-
You think The Prestige is his weakest movie? Bale and Jackman, dude? Come on.
They're a good duo, but I feel like the story, it doesn't resonate with a lot of viewers / I guess fans, because that specific like certain movies these days make money. Like it's not every kind of movie that like makes it. It's very specific selections and genres, and I feel like 19th century magic and all of that, it's not something people want to watch.
Yeah.
Like it's interesting, as a piece of art, but as a whole, not really. Good movie though.
Yeah.
Good movie. Yeah.
Honestly, though,
And maybe.
from a personal standpoint, I'd say his weakest movie would have to be Dark Knight Rises. But that's just me.
That's you what?
Dark Knight Rises.
Oh, okay. Okay, that one is actually a good point. Purely because of how he handles the pain representation thing and Talia al Ghul. Talia and Bane could have been either different or removed, but we didn't really need them. We probably should have had like a Court of Owls type of thing for like Dark Knight Rises. But I feel like Nolan doesn't really want to go into that, lore deepness of DC and these sort of mystical elements. I don't think that's where he want to go as a story maker. Kind of the same vein as Matt Reeves. Like he doesn't want to go into the more zany stuff that aren't particularly possible in our world. I mean, a secret society is very possible, but the whole notion of a kid fighting an adult, a la Damien and Talon, sounds too far-fetched for them to ever be able to make it in a Christopher Nolan Batman movie, at least. Not counting the others.
Yeah, just reminds me of the. It reminds me of that movies I'd love to fix video we did, like how we'd fix Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises,
Yeah.
and literally the main thing we did was like we're gonna add Damian Wayne and Talon and the Court of Owls, like just suddenly the movie makes sense, like but yeah. There were so many things in that movie. Thing is, the biggest drawback of that movie is that it followed The Dark Knight. Because if Dark Knight Rises if Dark Knight Rises followed Batman Begins, it would have been like, oh, okay, sure, good sequel, bet. But it followed Dark Knight, and you can't really top that. So
I feel like though there was probably too much plot. I mean, it's still a Batman story, so there's still plot elements to follow. But I do feel like maybe you couldn't have had the first movie without the last one.
yeah,
You couldn't have had the first one without the last, because you need to add and develop his story and his journey to such a point that would necessitate him to rise up once more. Like, if it's just Batman Begins, Dark Knight Rises, what is he rising from? You know, what happened since the first movie? I feel like maybe in a certain way a sequel was unavoidable, but that sequel in itself was the best in the entire trilogy. So they probably should have stopped it at there. Or, like we said, maybe make a better movie. But this is all in hindsight, you know. It's hard to see these things for what they are in the moment. You only see it after some time when, you know, that moment has passed.
yeah.
And then you start to understand certain things. And you're like, oh, okay.
But hey, man,
Yeah.
gotta give credit where credit's due. The guy did bring Batman back into the
shadows,
limelight. Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
let's be real,
Like, who would have thought
Yeah.
a Batman movie would make $1 billion?
dude. I
Kind of
mean,
unheard of in any genre. Like $1 billion?
yeah,
Yeah. He humanized Batman, and by humanizing him, he made him appeal to the masses. Because most of the people's Batman these days are like, oh yeah, that Nolan mid 2000s. I mean, nowadays it's kind of changing, because you have younger kids coming up these days who see Ben Affleck as their childhood Batman. Because when you think about it, BVS and whatnot, it's like 8 years ago. So that's a long ass time, almost 9 years ago. So there's like a lot of kids who watch that and they kind of feel like that is their childhood Batman, despite the multiple incarnations that we have seen. Like, obviously we had seen Michael Keaton Batman as a kid, TV or whatever, but he's not our Batman. Not really. Our Batman is like fucking Christian Bale. Like, that's our Batman. I remember one time I was on a school trip. I think it was like grade 5 or grade 6. I think it was grade 5. And we went to Gateway, and by the McDonald's entrance, by that long wall. I think it's been changed now. But the long wall, there was like a huge ass like glass billboard poster painted thing for the Dark Knights. And I was like, damn, I wanna watch this fucking movie. And I felt such a sense of wonder that a superhero could be as big and bright and just perfect. Like, it was captivating to my child's mind's eye, and it still is.
yeah. I recall the first time I saw Dark Knight, man. I generally couldn't finish it because like we were watching it at night. It wasn't like, oh yeah, we went during the day. It was like late at night, and when like Dent peeled that fucking like mask off, that like what gauze off his face, and like we saw him all crispy and shit. I was like, nah, no, I'm out, man. Fuck this. It was
Probably like
because it was like 2008, dog. I was still young, dude. It was because the Harvey Dent I was used to wasn't that. He wasn't disfigured like that. Sure, he was disfigured, but he was like, it was like, you know, Tommy Lee Jones. You know, like his face was purple. You know, hair was messed up, but nothing too bad. But to see him all burnt up like that, his one eye doesn't even close because his eyelid is burnt off. Like Jesus, it kind of shows. Like that's how good that movie was, dude. Like just the dude gave me the creeps. But yeah, dude, not just him. Joker was a great villain. Joker was just, man, menacing. And some of the best villains, and like the biggest thing about him was like he was just a guy. He was just a dude. He wasn't the head of some big organization or whatever. He was just a guy, one guy. And he was able to portray all this shit. But yeah, man, just yeah, we were talking about like dude's weakest movie. That's definitely like Dark Knight Rises absolutely is his weakest film. Closely followed by Tenet. Let's be real. Tenet was confusing if you weren't paying attention. It was a good like spy movie, but kind of just devolved into I don't know, it lost its fucking mind in that third act. Like YouTube reviews, but like this one YouTuber, Patrick H. Willems, said like,
oh yeah, I know him.
yeah,
I love
yeah,
his
yeah,
video essays.
yeah, he was
Very,
talking
very eloquent guy.
definitely. I especially loved the one he did about Zack Snyder, but like there was this one he was talking about Christopher Nolan and Tenet, and like Tenet is Chris Nolan's like hot shit movie in the sense that like Christopher Nolan knows that he's hot shit, but he wants to see just how hot shit. Like, can he really do anything and people just love it? And this was the movie to test that because he threw everything into Tenet, and you know,
Would you say Ted was like his magnum opus as a director, where he finally came into his own?
he'd already established himself, but like the most Nolan.
Yeah, but like,
Yeah.
think of when he became the actual GOAT. Like Christopher Nolan, he is now a bona fide GOAT director.
I'd say every good director has that movie where you can say, this is the most, you know that phrase like, I am him. Like that, it's the most them movie to ever them. Like I don't know, Six Underground is the most Michael Bay movie to ever Michael Bay. And Army of the Dead is the most Zack Snyder movie to ever Zack Snyder, right next to Justice League. So Tenet.
I would say that's 300.
Really? So early?
That maybe. Okay, think of it this way. Think of Zack Snyder's action.
Yeah.
You get that like specific cinematography that he is only known for. Only he.
It's definitely in there. A lot of slow-mo, epic shots, you know.
Yeah, that like grayscale, sepia, color tone.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not a bad director, you know. It's just that issue. Yeah. Sometimes his ideas are a bit overzealous. Yeah, well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I think he's having a good time at Netflix. Because they had contractually gotten him for all of those, I guess, Star Wars-esque stories, because obviously, I think we even spoke about this.
Yeah, we did.
How he took the ideas that he had for like his Star Wars pitch, and then made it the one for Rebel Moon.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting.
It is definitely interesting. So, like, to circle back to the original thing, I would definitely say Tenet was the most Christopher Nolan movie to ever be made by Chris Nolan.
Yeah, definitely that one. But I feel like, how directors have movies that they make because they wanted to make a movie? Like I guess what's the word? An arrogant movie? Like an ego movie. I feel like Tenet was this ego movie. Because if you look at its conception and how it came about, like there was nothing in the zeitgeist that had Tenet written all over it. It was like this new idea that, again, at the time of release, very polarizing, right? Extremely, to the point where people are like, this movie makes complete and utter sense, versus this movie is an incoherent piece of dumpster fire. Like, you know, and again, it still comes down to that side of like, Yanni, Laurel, what color do you see, gold or blue? It's like, do you really understand the movie? What is your interpretation? Like, everyone seems to have a specific interpretation of the movie, because again, it's Nolan, so they want to like overanalyze it, they want to over deep it, but it's just like, I mean, it's a movie. The plot is there if you really concentrate. I think what everyone gets confused by are like the words, like temporal pincer, and all of those, like technical jargon words. To them, it's just like, well, this doesn't make sense to me. Why? Because I don't understand the words. So just because they don't understand the words, it doesn't mean the movie itself doesn't make sense. The movie can make a lot of sense, but you yourself might have some difficulty interpreting it. Might have some difficulty just interpreting information. So it's not a bad thing. You're not a retard or a dumbass. It's just a movie that you didn't get yourself. So you're going to need someone else to kind of explain it to you, or get it to you. And that's when we have beautiful people like Patrick Williams, or, whoever does video essays, like High Top Films. I'm talking about serious guys. I like these jokey guys, like, who's this guy? That drunk guy, the drunk guy reviews. I don't even know what his name is. But that guy, he's too right wing, He said Falcon and Winter Soldier was like, left wing pandering or whatever. The guy gets drunk in your reviews names. I don't know what his real full page name is. But like, I don't need those reviewers telling me what this movie was or what it wasn't. I need real guys who understand like literature and like the importance of story motifs and elements and stuff like that.
Yeah. I get it, man. It's like proper critical analysis, man. You didn't just watch this movie and come out like there was this moment in Birdman where dude was talking about this critic and he was reading this review she was writing down, not for like his thing but something else, and he just explained like there's nothing in here about structure, there's nothing in here about story, it's just shitty adjectives followed up by shitty comparisons. There's nothing here, like basically pointing out you're not properly criticizing this, you're just saying, calling it shit. You're coming up with different ways to call it shit. You're not actually saying why you think it's bad.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I get that. But like, ultimately, look at Nolan's. Okay, when you compare that to say, I don't know, Interstellar, which one, in your opinion, seems more of a this is an arrogant work, like this is a work from my arrogance or hubris?
Interstellar.
Because some of them are meaningful.
See, because
what?
with comparing Tenet to Interstellar, it was very much. It's like, I don't know, dude. Because Interstellar didn't feel like a vanity thing. It felt like his take on like 2001: A Space Odyssey. You know, like it wasn't his thing. It was more like he saw what someone else did and said, "Okay, now here's my take on that." Like almost like what he did with Batman.
Would you compare that to Kubrick, though?
To what?
Compare that to Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah.
I mean, all right. Has Nolan reached Stanley Kubrick, or is he surpassed him? Let's be honest. I don't really have an answer for that because I haven't internalized it as much. But maybe he is. I would say he. I don't know. Is he? Because I don't want to just speak out of turn for a director just because I'm just not deriding him. Has he really surpassed Kubrick? Like think of the pioneering effort of Stanley Kubrick. All he's done for cinema. I mean, yeah, he's not a good guy personally, but whoever is. But in terms of every single technical marvel, every single, Kubrick is up there. He is not just up there, he is there. He's the guy. But Nolan, what's Nolan's magnum opus? A true career achievement.
I would have to say, even though Tenet is the most Nolan movie ever, I would say his most his crowning achievement in film, personally, from what I've seen, it would be Interstellar.
Okay. Why is it because of the actual the plots?
No.
The cinematography. What speaks to you about Tenet?
Not Tenet. Tenet would be the most Nolan movie to ever Nolan, but his crowning achievement as a director would be Interstellar, because this is.
Okay. Now I hear you.
Yeah, think about it, because the basic premise is Earth is dying. We need to send astronauts into space to save it.
No. I've seen it. I'm just thinking about everything. Okay, Tesseract, black hole. I mean, the black hole was pretty inspired based off a real black hole. Even NASA themselves confirmed it.
Yeah.
By showing us what a black hole looks like. Okay. You've definitely got a contender there.
Yeah, because personally, I look at that movie and I think if anyone else had directed this film,
I'm thinking
it wouldn't work.
His most technically, I guess, what's the word? Definitely the most technically complex film he's done.
Yeah.
The most work, the most CGI, the most everything has been done in that movie, solely by him and I guess his team of musicians or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you agree, his crowning movie would be Interstellar?
I guess considering the amount of Oscars it also won, it definitely deserves that title.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's definitely... Yeah, it's up there. Just, he took what would be in the hands of another director, what would have just been a straight-up sci-fi action movie, and he made it this
Exactly.
he made it like deep and emotional and
He made it have meaning.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because, like, the basic premise of Earth is dying, assemble a team of astronauts to save it. Let's be honest, dude. Michael Bay could make that movie. No disrespect to Michael Bay, but, like, yeah.
You have a team led by, a few run-of-the-mill actors or whatever. Like, that's an Oscar-winning movie made by Michael Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get what you mean. It's something that a lot of directors can do. Like, a lot of directors can make, Armageddon or Gravity. But not everyone can make Interstellar.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the crowning element of being a brilliant director.
Yeah. It's not something. That's a crowning achievement movie is the movie you made that no one else could have made. Like, that is your movie. Yeah.
Because your vision is only able to be truly realized by you.
Yep.
I mean, that's the mark of creativity. No one can truly visualize something the way you can if that idea is just yours and original. Like, no one can put it to paper as best as you can. Or put it onto, I guess in this context, film, reel. Put it onto a reel.
Yeah. Though it's not, I think another example of such a director, and this may be a hot take or controversial or whatever, would be Steven Spielberg and Ready Player One. Like, him.
Oh, yeah.
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 Spielberg and Ready Player
Spielberg is
One,
like,
dude.
do you think he's too old now to direct?
I don't know, man. The last movie he did was that it was kind of a semi-biopic, The Fablemans, but like his movies ain't hitting
the
like they
story about
used
his
to.
life.
Yeah.
That one.
His movies ain't hitting
How
like
old
they
is he, like
used to.
75? I
Yeah.
think he's reaching that point in his career, and a lot of directors reach this point. In fact, much earlier, I should say. A lot of them reach that period where it's not that they stop giving a fuck, but they sort of reevaluate their fucks.
Yeah.
And they kind of they become more choosy about what they do, how quickly they do it, and, everything subsequently following after. Like, once you've made 20 good movies as a director, you're allowed to have a completely 21st movie. It's allowed.
Yeah.
It's not like, every time you're expected to produce an Academy Award-winning movie. Like, just look at Scorsese. He's a man who has a brilliant work ethic. But at the same time, he is getting up there in age. Yet even so, it doesn't hinder his age whatsoever. Like, it doesn't hinder his age. It doesn't hinder his performance as a director, his delegation duties, his instructions, like everything. He's still a sharp guy. But he hasn't really rested on his laurels as much as other directors have. And he's 80 years old. He's freaking 80. Yet he's still pumping out quality stuff. Obviously, the man himself versus his content is a different thing. A lot can be said about his views on Marvel and whatnot, and the superhero medium. But as a creator who tells stories, yeah, he is one of those guys who has been consistent for like 50 years.
Definitely so. Is
Yet a person like
yeah.
yeah, you see, it really depends on your work ethic. He's 80, still pushing, and the other guys in their mid 50s just stop producing ass, just utter ass. I don't know. Midlife crisis. What can we blame it on? Divorce? Who knows?
I don't know. There just does come a time either when the film going audience changes or you personally start to slide in terms of like your style of filmmaking. Cause
Exactly.
there was a guy back in the 80s. He was basically 1980s Michael Bay. His name was John McTiernan. He directed Die Hard, Predator, Last Action Hero. Dog,
Yeah.
he was the man in the 80s.
Oh man.
And then the 90s rolled around and dude, I don't know what happened. His movies just
Oh.
he got old. Like he got old and his movies just weren't the same. They didn't
Damn.
yeah, I don't get it. He don't make like the last movie he made came out in 2000. It was Rollerball. And Rollerball's a good
Oh
movie.
yeah, I watch Rollerball.
Yeah, it's a good movie, but it ain't no Die Hard. It ain't no Predator.
Exactly.
So yeah.
I mean, is that a consequence of like him, or is it what you said with like the filmmaking audience changed?
I think it's mostly him because people nowadays rewatch 80s movies. And like Stallone with his Expendables movies proved anything, it's that people will watch an 80s type movie today that's made today. There is still very much a market for that. So I put it more on him as opposed to audience shifting.
You know what? Maybe I feel like that is true on him. Because I mean, just looking at that era that he released his last movie in, I remember watching a video documentary. I think it was by Patrick Williams or someone else, but it was about like the rise and fall of Judd Apatow, and like they were explaining, his rise as like an indie film director, and associating with people like James Franco and Seth Rogen on shows like what is it, Freaks and Geeks or whatever.
Yeah.
All of that progression and like that career growth, it culminated to like, I think it culminated with maybe the Anchorman or whatever, and with that comedy period that just completely saturated the market in the 2000s. And you look at a movie, I remember, because the reason why I watched Rollerball, right? It's literally because of one reason, one full reason. I thought it was one of those comedy films starring like Ben Stiller or someone else. I didn't know it wasn't that, right? So I watched it and I was like, what the fuck is this?
Funny
But
enough.
then I realized
Yeah.
this movie is so out of period.
Yep.
That was the one thing that I felt. I was like, it's so out of period. It feels like a 1996 movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The hard R
Like it just-
rating doesn't help.
exactly. But like the fashion and like the aesthetic, it feels like it should belong in the 2000s, but it feels like they tried to do a 2000s movie with 90s ideas, as if a script had been sitting on like the desk for the past 7 years or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's the issue, because when scripts sit too long, the movies become dated.
It certainly does.
Especially
Though,
if the
man.
movie is so visually telling. Like, It puts a heavy emphasis on visual storytelling. That visual storytelling ages with time.
It's like, for instance, where Christopher Walken's character in A View to Kill, like his villain, using computers to, orchestrate crimes as a way to take over Silicon Valley in like 1989. That's like, oh crap, it's so forward thinking with what we know about like what we would come to know about computers and how powerful they are. But if you did that like in 2005, say like Daniel Craig had a villain who was gonna use, I don't know, some kind of supercomputer to take over Silicon Valley. It's like, okay, I get it, you're a computer villain, but like 2005, dude. It's
That's
this.
too late. Like, we already have supercomputers that can stop that hack attempt. Like,
Yeah, it just,
it's no longer believable
yeah,
that this can be an issue at this point.
yeah. It's very showing that, okay, this is clearly an idea that was sitting on someone's desk for a long time. But
Yeah.
oh shit. But like, damn, there's so many not so many, but like there's a bunch of movies like that. Like, um this thing, what was this? Ah, fuck it. I had it, but like I lost it. But damn, dude, there's so many scripts that were just like, yeah, this is an idea we wrote way back when that we're only pulling off now because now we can. Like, just, uh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There was one, Face Off. Weirdly enough, Nick Cage, John Travolta. Yeah, it's a '90s movie, but it was actually like written like late '80s. Cause it, I
And
keep,
that idea
yeah,
is fresh, because I feel like either way, even at that point,
yeah,
that would have been a crazy thing that is still not possible by our standards.
yeah,
Like, it definitely feels like it's in the realm of RoboCop, like that era of like gruesome action body horror movies. Like, have you seen the uncut RoboCop?
yeah,
I'm sure you have.
yeah. Paul
It is,
Verhoeven, yeah.
Jesus Christ, it's something.
Mm-hmm.
It's, yeah. I mean, RoboCop kids, stay in school. Like, he's not a guy you want to fuck with in that cut. So yeah, I think it was definitely part of that era of like Hollywood films that did a lot to push the envelope of gore, and it probably survived because it's still such a fantastical story device. Like, my biggest op just switched faces with me. It's very interesting in a way that I feel no other, modern reboot or whatever can ever replicate. Because it's the most original idea ever. Like, who thinks about that? Face Off?
Yeah.
It's not even like a stoner's idea. Like, it's perfect in its simplicity, yet unique in its conception.
Yeah. It's right up there with like Demolition Man because funny enough,
Yeah.
when they initially wrote Face Off, the dude that they wanted to work on it wasn't John Woo. It was the guy who would later go on to direct Demolition Man. He actually turned down Face Off so he could make Demolition Man. But still, happy coincidence. And another thing, in regards to Face Off, the names they originally had lined up or that they wanted wasn't Travolta and Cage. It was, I remember I told this, it was Stallone and Schwarzenegger. I remember I told you and you were like, that movie wouldn't work.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe
Oh,
I think they're just too big. Like, they're
Really?
too similar to where a face-off movie wouldn't hit as much in terms of the contrast between them.
But they're just both like these, fucking buff, total badass guys. It's like, okay, if both of you switch faces. It's like, what more can be done?
Yeah.
You know?
I'm still trying to figure out how we went from. I'm just trying to figure out how the studio went from, okay, we couldn't get Stallone and Schwarzenegger, let's go to Nick Cage and John Travolta. Where's the, like, tree of.
What can you actually classify them as? I feel like they're kind of like chameleons, right? Because you look at any other actor in that period, all of them got categorized. Morgan Freeman, dramatic actor. A person like Meryl Streep, dramas and rom-coms.
Yeah.
The same goes for people like Billy Idol or whatever. Yeah. Who's that other one? Jodie Foster. Like those characters, dramas and rom-coms. And then people like Stallone, Arnie. That's action. Like those are action guys. But Travolta, I mean, shit, he was in Grease. He was in he's been in so many varying roles.
Yeah.
That it's hard to pinpoint him as an actor. The same goes for Nick.
Yeah.
But with that, I kind of understand. I definitely understand them using those two actors because they're both chameleons. They can both disappear behind a role to where you forget it's them, even with their iconic face. But they're both good enough that they can become each other convincingly, especially if they're two completely different personas, which they are, in my opinion, Travolta and Cage.
Yeah. They can effectively play. They weren't playing each other, but they could effectively play their characters in a way that you're like,
Exactly.
yeah, it's believable. Like, he's not the character he was. He's playing someone else now. Not just someone else. He's playing this character.
He's playing two people.
Yeah, he's playing two people. Yeah. Not like RDJ, Tropic Thunder, I'm playing the dude, but like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, he's not playing the guy whose face he's putting on. He's playing himself, putting on the face of the guy, and then acting as that guy while still actually being himself, which is his character. So, whatever his name is, I forget. I think it's like John?
Archer and Troy. The two of them, Archer and Troy.
Yeah. Exactly. So, you have them, and obviously that whole reveal happens of, their faces are now swapped. But then, when you look at the way that they play these characters, and John, it's like, okay, one is sinister, and one is like, one is like very intense and smoldering, and one is very like, beat cop, and he just wants to get, the job done. He wants to do good, but he's stuck in this, fucked up situation where he has this guy's face on. And now he has to kind of act like that guy, and he still has to, he still has his good nature, but now he's this guy, and it's such an interesting, multifaceted approach. I just think it works without fail.
Yeah.
It's just one of those films that you go, that was a very entertaining. That's an ETV 8 p.m. movie right there.
Yeah, Friday action night right there.
Exactly. You finish it from start to finish. You don't get drowsy. You finish all your food, all your juice, and you're on the edge of your seat.
Yeah.
Because it's just so fucking good. Yeah.
Oh man, gone are the days of those kinds of films. You're right. Times have changed, but some people even from the 80s and from that era still be working today, their work isn't quite what they used to be, but it's not bad. Like, for example, Rennie Harlin, he directed Die Hard 2, and like Die Hard 2 is pretty good. It's one of my favorite movies of the Die Hard like series. But then you see his other works like, okay, so you did Die Hard 2, hit the ground running, and like I didn't follow much of his work, but like the next movie of his I saw was like 12 Rounds with John Cena. I'm like, okay, this is basically Die Hard again, but like,
Pretty much.
okay, sure, whatever. Move on. And I'm just like, dude, is this all you can do? When I start looking back at his films, I'm like, can you only make Die Hard? Granted, it's not bad. None of these movies are bad. It's just like the director who only makes one kind of movie. It's like, okay.
It's kind of like Joss Whedon.
Yes. Everybody's a quippy jokester. Like, people are pratfalling into a woman's breast. Like, just, dude. The main villain's a threat, but not really. People die, but like they're not important. So just not to say Coulson wasn't important, but like he came back. So death doesn't really matter. And even on Buffy, people died, but like they came back.
Would you say that it's Joss's fault, or it's like the studio like wanted to kill Coulson off, but then they changed their minds when they had Age of the Shield? Because look, you look at how long Marvel has had that creative stronghold on directors. Why would they allow Whedon to kill a character they still need? For me, it doesn't make sense. It feels like they used Whedon as like a scapegoat to be like, oh yeah, well, we weren't gonna kill him, but he did. We just brought him back with like this convoluted thing called Tahiti, and all of that subsequently following.
Yeah. It definitely it's possible that this was in the plans, but then like because there was a creative committee back then that decided how the movies would pan out. There isn't anymore, but like, it kind of makes you wonder though. Phase 1 was amazing, and that's with the creative committee. So like looking now that we've gone through Phase 4, is it a good thing that the creative committee is gone? 'Cause, I mean, look what we've gotten.
The old guard that got us to that first phase, you mean?
Yeah.
You know what? I'll say this. A lot of the guys who started like Marvel Entertainment and then became studios. Like I'm talking like guys who were there since like 2004, 2006.
Yeah.
I think a lot of them left around the Disney turnover because they saw what the mouse had in store, which was like this, I guess, grotesque homogenization of content and budget cuts and this and that and, creative stifling and studio interference. Because Marvel, up until then, was solely independent. Like, they finally managed to create their own studio and do things themselves, get all that money themselves. And then, the mouse came along. And I feel like the mouse is very, it's tough. Because, Disney buying certain properties has either made them better or worse. And, we can talk about that for the whole day. But I do feel like in some capacity, Disney ruined a few things. But the most I would say it fucked up is in not keeping that creative team that was, I would say, in charge of the world building. Because you had retired comic book writers, you had old producers, you had a lot of people
with valid information and valid input in the early days of Marvel. Like guys who influenced how Tony's suit looks, guys who influenced like the characterization, they're all gone, and a lot of them left around the time when Disney bought Marvel. Just because once you have a big studio like that controlling you, you're no longer going to have the same freedom as you did. And that was very evident by the way they treated Edgar Wright with his Ant-Man film.
That was, that was definitely... That was the first time you got the sense that maybe everything isn't sunshine and roses behind the doors, maybe directors don't have as much freedom as we thought they did. Because the main dude we would hear about was, can't remember his name. Directed like Iron Man 1 and 2, but I can't remember his name. You know what I'm talking about.
Favreau.
Yeah, Favreau. He was like the main guy you would see at like Comic-Con and like press junkets because he had two movies. Yeah, he had 2 movies under his belt. So he was the main guy you could ask like, hey, how's things going at Marvel?
Child of Marvel.
Yeah.
Independent Marvel at that.
Yeah. It's not like you could ask Kenneth Branagh like, hey, what goes on? Because he was a one-off. One and done. And he was,
Exactly.
So, yeah. So he was...
It's tough because you definitely get the sense that everything that happened is literally Disney's fault. Because it's funny, Wright was attached to the MCU before it was even dubbed the MCU, Like he was, I think he joined Marvel around 2005, 2006. Like he's always been connected to Marvel in some capacity because he wrote an Ant-Man screenplay while he was in film school. Like he literally wrote it. Like he had, a lot of communication with Stan Lee. He gave his blessing on making an Ant-Man film. He'd always spoken about how much he'd wanted it. And this is like before Spider-Man 2 came out, dog. Like this is so long ago. And to think of the history that he has with this like particular property and how long it took him, because the only thing that delayed him, Edgar, was the fact that he had a few movies that he was either contractually obligated to do, and then there was a movie that he did around that time. I think it was The World's End, because he did Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
That was a smash hit, and then he only did The World's End because I think one of the directors had died.
Yeah.
So
no, he was sick.
Had,
he was sick. He was dying. Yeah.
Yeah, he was doing it as like a favor to him. So that like kind of delayed his start with the MCU.
Because Ant-Man was supposed to be a Phase 1 movie initially.
Exactly. Yeah, like, and then you have things like Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and Scott Pilgrim, 04, 07, 10. They all came in the way of him being part of Phase 1. Because those movies came out during Phase 1 and while it was still building and growing. And by the time he finally came back, not only was Phase 1 done, but Marvel has already been bought. And the new guys were not about to let, him fuck up the plan they'd already spent like 8 months crafting in an office somewhere in Burbank. So yeah, man, he really got the fucking short end of the stick. Especially since that was like, at that point, a project he'd been attached to for 10 years.
To the point they had a demo, dude. They had that demo they played at Comic-Con, man. Like,
the one we watched in high school and whatnot. And yeah, like that's the unfortunate thing. Like, we will never see more than that test footage that they had like filmed. And it's purely Disney's fault, because in the endeavor of trying to keep up and the plan to accommodate like Ant-Man in a better capacity. I don't know.
I think the guy himself described it best. Like, he wanted to make an Ant-Man movie. Marvel didn't want to make an Edgar Wright movie. It's like,
Yeah.
if you know, you know,
Because
man.
even as a director, he's also visually like stylized. Like he also has like his own style.
Yeah. In the editing, too. Like, all those movies have, like, that MTV quick cut editing style.
Yeah, like a poppy,
Yeah.
punk, very rebelliousness. Like it feels so energetic.
Dude, there's a scene in At World's End where dude orders a beer and he edits it. He makes the bartender pouring the beer look interesting. Like, dude, imagine putting him in an MCU movie. Like, just, dude, look at Baby Driver. Dude, look at Baby Driver and like how it uses music and like, man.
Exactly. So like Wright is in a league of his own. It's unfortunate what happened to him, and I don't know. I feel like that is a classic case of missed opportunities that we'll never get again. Like imagine if Disney was like, I guess, courteous, or like, I don't know, maybe they pitied Edgar. Because I'm thinking right now, what if season 2? It has so many episodes and descriptions, and I feel we don't really need, I would say, much more. We could have used those stories and animation, because again, animation, you can do anything. You can make Cat fly, you can make Black Widow turn into a demon or a dragon, whatever. With that, they should have explored the unexplored avenues of the MCU. What could have been. Now, I'm not saying, make a what if for Edgar Wright's Ant-Man, because that's just essentially just the Ant-Man movie, but with Edgar's version. But they could have used Edgar to craft a new Ant-Man story as a what if. Just as like, consolidation for what he did. Which is, right, a very good screenplay that never got used. And probably about 25% of which ended up in the actual Ant-Man film we saw. Now, I want to see 100% Edgar Wright.
Yeah. There
And
is.
it don't gotta be the first movie.
Yeah, it don't gotta be. It could just be a story, like a new story that he wrote up. Cause
Yeah, an Ant-Man story. That's what he likes. He likes Ant-Man, the character, and I feel like, yeah, this is one of those missed what ifs. Like, it's literally a what if. It's a real life what if.
Yep. Oh man, personally, a what if that I would have liked to see play out, just because of how interesting it sounded like to me, would have been continuing Edward Norton's Hulk movie, because like the way he lays out like the plans they had for Incredible Hulk 2, it's just also how that movie ended. Dude, that movie ended with dude willingly wanting to become the Hulk. Like, literally his eyes flash open, they're green, and the timer counts like, days without incident back down to 0. And then the next time you see him, he's just hiding out in South America. Like, bro, how does that ending link to this? It's
What
just...
actually was that scene? Like, was that... I just felt like it was... Oh, the movie's ending. Let's just show something cool. Like, oh, now he's actually hulking out, but he's controlling it. I just felt like it was that kind of thing. Like, it wasn't meant to be taken or maybe too seriously. I don't know, because it just seems like everything in that scene serves the purpose of sequel bait, but not good enough.
Yeah. Though, dude explained actually. Explained. He didn't explain like that scene 100%, but he explained like the idea that was being discussed with him, the director, and some of the people at Marvel. Like, if they had gotten the green light for Incredible Hulk 2, what would have happened was it would have been Bruce. Like, he went into this explanation about how it was like when Bruce becomes Hulk, he enters this like dreamlike state, and him meditating at the end was like him triggering a transformation on purpose, as like this, because up until now he's had no choice in transforming, and now he's like choosing to transform as a way to sort of wrestle control away from him. And over the course of the film, the two would come to this understanding of like, yo, dude, I don't have to wrestle control away from you. Like, we can just coexist. And it would essentially be Hulk's 3 movie arc from Ragnarok to Endgame, but in one movie. That's what they ended up doing in the end. But like, thing is, my concern is, as good as that movie would have been, I'm concerned because, okay, so you would have done that 3 movie arc in one movie, but what then? You know, like, what becomes of the Hulk afterwards?
Maybe that story wrapping up as quickly as it would have could have opened up the avenue for more zany Hulk stories, like World War and planets and whatnot. But then having that would also necessitate the Illuminati, and I don't think that would have been possible at that stage either way. Maybe it could have been if they had introduced Reed earlier. I don't know, man.
I mean, at that point, F4 was still a Fox property, so.
Yeah, so like, you would have had a different member in the Illuminati. Say, like, I don't know.
Dude, you remember that Kevin Feige told us the original plan for dude, I remember I told you in like high school, it was during PE, and your legit reaction was like, "What the fuck, man?" Like, cause I told you the reason Stark went to go see Ross was like to so they could talk about Abomination being a part of the Avengers, because there
Oh,
would
yeah,
be
yeah.
like an Avengers movie where the Hulk is the guy that they're like trying to stop. He said like, the Hulk's gone crazy and they need to bring in someone who can take him down. So the Avengers bring in Blonsky, and you like right away you're like, what the fuck, man? That wouldn't work. And you said mainly because the Hulk decked Blonsky the first time they fought, so like it wouldn't make sense to bring him in as the guy to take down the Hulk. So.
Yeah, it's like a failed backup, like Redux. Like, didn't I beat your ass last time? What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. But still, like, just even in they, it seems like they were high on Abomination in like the early stages of MCU, because it wasn't the only time they tried to bring him back. Because like Feige
Yeah.
said, one of the plans for Avengers 2 was that instead of Wanda and Pietro, that Ultron would bring in the Abomination as his henchman. I'm just like, did y'all like?
Where would even find him?
Another thing is why?
I mean, I guess he knows where everything is on Earth, you know.
Yeah, but
Just
like at the same
Tenet
time,
brain.
why him? I mean,
Why him? Why not someone evil like Zemo, like a real mastermind?
Zemo's just a guy.
Oh,
Dude.
Zemo could have been part of the Illuminati.
I mean,
But to what end?
he wasn't a thing yet, because the whole reason he came in
Yeah.
Civil War was because of Sokovia falling down and killing his family. So like, yeah.
Yeah.
But still, though, man.
Because like you need a smart character substitute for the Illuminati if you're gonna take out Reed, because of course at that point he wouldn't have been part, given that he would have been owned by Fox still.
Yeah. No Black Bolt either.
Yeah, because
Because
that shit seeds hadn't even come out yet.